Hi everyone, I have a new book I'm going to go through today that will be for sale. I have several that I'm going to list. It's going to take me a little while. But today, this little book, this little pattern book with babies, it's really cute. All of the proceeds when I sell this are going to go to the Bree Stronger Than Cancer Foundation. This little girl really touched my heart. And I can't talk about it because it'll make me cry. But anyway, all of the money is going to go to her family. Her family doesn't need the money anymore. However, they are sending money to families who do need the money, who have their children have cancer. And I'm wearing her little shirt while we go through the book. This says, "You got this." And there's her little signature right there. And this is her. She loved dragonflies. I put her in my December daily because unfortunately in December we lost her. But this is her beautiful little face right here. And I just wanted to show everyone and remind everyone that childhood cancer is an awful, awful disease. And my daughter has been touched by it. One of her good friends has now been diagnosed with cancer. So we want the money from this little book to go to help other children. So with that, I'm going to get into it because otherwise I'm just going to start boo-hooing. Okay. So this is the little book that I made. It's an old McCall's pattern, really old. I put some tape on the front, some little washi tape where there was some damage. There was some damage to it. We've got some stitching around the edges. I also have an antique brooch or vintage brooch. It's hand painted on the front. And the back is just plain. Hopefully, it's been a while since I've done videos, so hopefully you guys can see all this and I'm doing okay. All right, so the little brooch is just clipped on here. So you can use it in other projects. You can wear it and do whatever you want to it. Let's see here. There we go. And I've just got this little piece of ribbon on there to give it a little extra for the front. This is just some pretty satiny ribbon. It's not sari silk, but it's real pretty. It's satiny pink. This pretty trim right here I got from my mom's stash when she cleaned out her sewing room. It has little hearts on it. All right, so we open up and in the front there's a pocket with a little vintage girl, and I've got a couple little cards right here in the front with some vintage rosebud. My mom used it. It's my mom's fabric also for nightgowns for my girls when they were babies. I found most of this stuff I found at estate sales, the bins, Goodwill, garage sales, whatever. We've got some baby buttons that I just embellished with a little bit of trim. And then I backed it with old vintage scrapbook paper. You can see the original foxing on the back. This is just a printable, but it's real cute. And I added a little stitching trim to it. Also backed it. And this is fun. I found a whole box of these at the bins. Somebody donated some vintage realtor cards. So the back is just plain, and I've just put some old vintage ripped up sheets on the front. So these are just some little journaling cards that you guys can use. We have a doily with a little tiny embellishment. I learned this from, Treasure Books. I think the lady from Treasure Books, she laminated pieces of lace, and I thought how cool. It makes it a whole lot easier to use in your book. You could tape things to it or staple things to it, and it's a little more easy to work with in your book, and it has a really neat sound when you're messing with it. This is from a vintage sewing book, a piece of, I can't even remember it may be Better Homes and Garden vintage sewing book. And on the back, it didn't really match the book, so I just added a little piece of paper to write on with a baby. This is from an antique ledger book. This is old scrapbook paper, and this is from a storybook. It was like a 365-day storybook where you read a book every day, or a story every day, and I cut out one of the little baby pictures to put on there. Back here, we have just a little bobbin that you buy at Hobby Lobby, and we decorated it. My mom actually made this one. It's really cute. I love it. She came over and we had a craft day and Made lots of things. So these are what are in here. Here's a little journal card. This is a printable, I believe, from KB and Friends. And I just backed it on the back with scrapbook paper so it wouldn't be white. And then this is a vintage baby shower card. I still left everything here, but you know you could always put a piece of paper over it and journal your own stuff here. And then on the back, it was it had been glued into a scrapbook. So the back was kind of torn up. So I put a little bit of scrapbook paper back there, vintage scrapbook paper, and a little piece of washi tape. But I did leave, you can see right here where the scrapbook paper, or the book, where it was pulled out of the book. But I left the little Hallmark symbol so you knew what kind of card it was. But look how cute that little baby is. Here's some more pages from that book, that vintage baby book. There's a little baby. This is a piece of vintage wallpaper. I need to see that. Yeah, that's real. It's real pretty. It feels like it might be, I don't know how they did it in the old days, but it feels stenciled. It doesn't feel printed. It feels like there's paint there. Then on the back of it, I've put a little printed hanky and little, I don't know, little cluster there. These, I went out and I printed some of the old baby, I just went on Pinterest and printed out some of the old baby pattern things and turned them into journal cards. This is a floating pocket with sari silk. And inside I've put just a couple little things, I was having fun with the sewing machine, so I just did a little extra of these little clippies for you. There's a couple little tags. These are, I also printed these off of Pinterest, I think. And I think they were like embroidery tags or something. But anyway, there's a couple extra things there in this little floating pocket. Oops, having a hard time getting it in there. So we got the little pocket, and the sari silk, it just wraps around like that so that you can keep the bow. This is music paper. This right here, we have two little tags. This is an alterations tag that I added some stuff to. Back is regular. This is just some vintage fabric. This is a Project Life card. And this is scrapbook paper. Right here, this, oops, I'm messing my thing up. This right here is a vintage birthday card. Right here, I put a little trim to cover up the name, but it folds out so that you could also journal on the inside. Okay, then on the back of the scrapbook paper, I have some vintage trim. Are we still in picture? Yeah, we're still in picture. Maybe I should zoom in a little bit. I should. Let's see. There we go. A little bit better. Okay, so we have, this is really cute. Now I clipped them down here at the bottom because I wanted them to stay in this little order right here, so they wouldn't slide around. But we have a vintage Betty Crocker. Let's take this off. Betty Crocker recipe card. It says right here, Betty Crocker recipe card library. And I left the back regular. You can always put something on the back and cover it up as a journaling card. But it's a shower cake, which is fun for a baby book. Then this is just an old scrapbook. I don't remember the brand. It was a scrapbook journaling pad that had the same colors, so we added that. And then a guest check with a little piece of lace. All right, I'll put this back together in a little bit. Put that right there. We have a baby page. And then right here, this is from KB and Friends, and I just backed it with some scrapbook paper. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have zoomed out. Let's zoom back in a little bit. There we go. Oop. I'm sorry, it's been so long since I've had to do this. But this is for a good cause, right? Okay, so it's backed, and then it's just a little flip like that. This is a page from an I think it was 1850s, or maybe it was 1890s. Anyways, the 1800s law book, but it's all in French, and it's really neat. So I got 3 of them. So I've been using the paper in all my books because it's fun. This right here is just a little girl that I printed. She looks like a little paper doll, but she kind of could be a bookmark, I guess, or a journaling tag. I'll put that back in a minute because I don't want to, let's see. I don't want to mess up the paper with that clip. Oh, there we go. Got it back on. All right, we got some scrapbook paper. This right here, this trim, is from an old antique baby blanket that was totally torn up. So I salvaged all of the hand crocheted trim. I did not want to lose that. But no fear, the blanket was destroyed, so we didn't want to lose that. But the blanket we couldn't use anymore. So over here, this right here, this is fun. I got my grandma's sewing stuff from when she passed. And this piece right here, I have the actual card. I guess I should have brought it over to show everybody how fun. But I scanned it in. This little scallop piece is a plastic piece that you would put down and I guess draw onto your pattern so that you could have really great scallops. I don't know. So I scanned it in anyway and thought it made a great pocket. And we put some vintage lace. And then over here, I have a little card. This is an old flash card. And then this is just from KB and Friends, just a little clip art that you can use somewhere. This is an antique or vintage. It's from the 1900s. I think, I don't even know. I can't remember what the pad said. It's old though. And that we stamped, me and my mom. This is nothing my mom did. She stamped and glued little bows onto the receipts to make them a little more decorative. And then this, I copied off of Pinterest and turned it into a flashcard. But this little card really goes with the theme of the book and being for childhood cancer, because we had a lot of wishes and have a lot of wishes for my daughter's friend and all of the children that are sick. A lot of wishes and a lot of prayers. All right, over here, this right here is an antique, or I guess it's soon to be antique if you go by antique being 100 years. This is probably from the 50s. So I don't know. It's definitely vintage. It was holding seam tape. So I took the seam tape out and took the wrapper and turned it into a pocket. And then the stuff in here, this is just a printable, I lost my words. What is it? Trade card for Willimatic Linen Company. Willimatic Thread. Okay, for thread. Anyway, I thought the bird and the baby with the little bonnet is perfect for this book. Then this little piece right here, this is a copy also of a hem and trim measuring guide. I have the original and I scanned it in because I love it and I wanted to be able to use it all the time. So what I did was I scanned the front and the back. So you have a perfect copy of the hem and trim measuring guide that I got from my grandma. Also, I learned this from Rachel on Roxy Creations. She made these cute little they're just little notepads. It doesn't have a lot of paper, but it's original vintage paper. So we've got a little bit of ledger and a little bit of typing paper done on a decorated time card, which you can't see much of the time card anymore, but you can still see the number. And on the back, you can see a little bit of it. Back here, just a little bit. I don't know how vintage it is, but I did get it from a local company out here in Belleville that went out of business. And they gave me, or sold me for $2, all of their time cards. So I have quite a few that I can have fun with. Oh, now that goes behind the birdie. All right, so that's that pocket. Over here, this is beautiful. I just threw it in here because this is some antique wallpaper, a little strip of it from a 1920s roll that I have. I'm hopefully going to find lots of places to put it in because it's just my favorite colors, green and pink. And it has this beautiful floral, and it also feels like it's painted on there. I don't know how I'm going to have to look it up. I don't know how they used to do the wallpaper, but it feels like somebody painted it on there. It's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. It is very delicate. I know that if you bend it, it's going to crack, but you could totally use it in collage or something. Now inside this pocket, I tipped in this pocket because I didn't like the way the two pages went together. So I put something in the middle to help blend them. But I made this little pocket and put some of the extras in here that I had put out for the book and didn't use. So we've got a little bit of paper. There's a couple little extra journaling cards. I think that's all that's in there. If I find anything else, I'll put some more things in there. But for right now, that's what's in here. oops. Pretty much I used everything that I got out, but we'll see if I find any more things to stick in here. Sometimes I come across more things than I want to put them in. Okay, so we have our little piece of wallpaper. Then on the back, this is just blank. Right here, this is from KB and Friends. This is just a little journaling card that I've hole punched and attached to this piece of paper with a little girl. This is Tim Holtz shoe tag. Back here, I covered the paper with a piece of the pattern. It says ruffle, very cute for babies. We've got some, this, I don't think this is vintage. I think I actually got that at Walmart, this little ribbon, and made a little band with the little girl on it. This is just stitched, but it is a vintage Rolodex card. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but the edges are not dirtied up with distress ink or anything. The edges are actually vintage gold, like gold dingied up from age. So that's a really neat little piece right there. Got a little bit of coffee paper here. This right here I found in a book that I picked up, and it says, "When the first baby laughed for the first time, the laugh broke into 1,000 pieces, and they all went skipping about, and that was the beginning of fairies," by J.M. Barrie. And I thought that was perfect for the center of this book. So I think this book only has, yeah, I only did one signature for the pattern books, but there are quite a few pages. I'll have to count them, but I'll put all that information in the listing, all of the details like that. This video is just pretty much to show how cute the book turned out. And then we have this little cutout of a little girl. This is the other side of the coffee paper. This is fun, and I cannot for the life of me remember who I saw that did this. I saw it somewhere on the internet, but just to give the page a little texture, they had cut strips of paper, squished them up, made little ruffles, and then stitched them. So I did that. And you can journal on the lines in between. It just was really cute. I love the ruffle. And then on the page next to it, we have a little leftover. This is the other side of the wallpaper right here. We've got, oh no, it's the other side of this. It was white and I didn't want it white. So I used a little extra of the wallpaper. We used a little bit of pattern paper and then a little bit more of the scrap paper with the little girl. So it all kind of went together. And I used pink floss, really thick embroidery floss. I don't know what it is because I don't do a lot of stitching, so I don't know what this thick stuff is, but it's really neat. I love it. Then on this side, that's the other side of the scrapbook paper. Here's some more of the baby blanket trim, and on the edge of it, I put a little extra lace just for pretties. Over here, I just did a little corner. It doesn't tuck or anything. It's just a little decoration with a page from the pattern or piece of the pattern paper to cover up that blank page. And it has all of like the meanings of the coding for all of the symbols. Over here, this is the scrapbook paper. Right here, I've got another little collage page for the back of that, which was white. This actually is very pretty. This is from a vintage baby nightgown that was not probably going to be able to be used again. It was quite ripped up, but I love the trim that was on it. So I salvaged all of the trim. I salvaged the baby nightgown too, but I did salvage the trim to be used because it was perfect for this book. This is a Project Life card, I think. Oh, no, this, I don't know where I got that. I have no idea. Sorry, I'm telling a lie. But it's not, I don't think it's a printable. I think it may be out of a little book or something. And then I put a little bow applique on there. Okay, this side, I made a little collage tag, and you can untie it with the pretty white vintage ribbon or whatever this is. We used to put this stuff in our hair when we were little, in our ponytails. My mom would put this to tie our ponytails up. And then on the back of it, it's just plain for journaling. Okay, we've got a little bit of washi tape on his. This is the other side of that French law book paper. Over here, I've got a journaling card that I printed off of Pinterest with the little babies. It's the McCall's pattern. And the back is scrapbook paper, and it's just a flip. And I flipped it using put it in there so it would flip using some eyelet lace. Eyelet? I think so. My words are not working today. So that's this page. And it's another baby page. That's the other side of that baby page from Better Homes and Gardens. Then over here, we've got a pocket. And I used one of those tags, those embroidery tags that's in the floating envelope with some lace from, I think this is from a napkin or something. Right here, we have a vintage card with a little puppy dog and some birthday presents that matches the color scheme. This is really neato. Since it's a pattern, I thought it was perfect to use an invoice. This is an original invoice from, it doesn't have a date on it, but I have a bunch of these, and the invoices were from the 50s, 1950s. So this is from Loomis Cotton Gin. I live in Central Texas, and the cotton gin that these came from was near Brenham or in Brenham, Texas, where Bluebell ice cream is made. So this is really neat, but I thought because it's the cotton gin, it goes kind of with the whole pattern idea. So I wanted to include that, but it is an original invoice. Let's see, there we go. All right. Then on this side, here's some more of that lace from the nightgown. I pretty much used all of it in this little baby book. It was so perfect for the baby book. This right here is just a little book, little tiny journal made with all of different papers from all the small books that I have and little leftovers that I had. The cover is made from a book that I have for crazy quilting. These are crazy quilt stitches that they would use or do use to attach or to go between the patches, I guess, or in the patches to make it look really pretty. So it's just a little book, little with extra paper. You can tear out the paper, use it in the book. You can journal in the book, and it sticks behind right here. This is the other side of that music paper. This, I think, was the other side of the wallpaper, and I just glued it down because it was so tiny and it kind of decorated the music side. This is the other side of that baby page. Here's the scrapbook page right here. We have a little bit extra. This is a copy. I have this needle book, and I don't want to give it away because I love it so much. I love cats, and this is one of my favorite things. So I scanned it in and turned it into a little note card, so I could share it by scanning it. I love this so much. Then here's another one of those cute little patterns as a note card with babies on it. And this is from Current, the stationery company. I don't know how long they've been around, but I know my mom used to buy Current products, Current cards, wrapping paper, ribbon. We loved Current. But the little strawberries are so cute and remind me of babies and fresh and spring and everything. So it just is perfect in here. So you have a little piece of that, and we've got that. And here's some of the ribbon where I cut that little bow out. I think I got this ribbon. I either got it at Hobby Lobby or Walmart, but it's so cute. It has little pink ribbons on it. All right, there we go. Then here's the other side of that wallpaper. This right here is the other side of the antique ledger paper that I used, 1954. Everybody, I didn't have any left that was all plain. So everybody, all the books, I've made 20 of these pattern books. It's going to take me a while to get them all listed, but I've started doing craft shows, so I have to get bulk done so that I have stuff for my booth. Anyway, so everybody's book, all of the books will have one page that's free of any writing, and then one page that has writing. And this particular page I chose because of babies and church and baptizing and just God in general, because we need God right now more than anything, is a church donation page. And it shows all of the donations that this person made in 1954. And it's just, I love this page. It's amazing, and I love it for this book. So there's that. And then on the back, here's their car license. So that's all. And if you don't like that, of course, you can cover it up. I did do this. You could probably cut that out and just put another page on top of it or do whatever. Of course, it's your book. You do whatever you want. Over here, I have an antique or vintage bingo card. I have this is the original back. I edged it and made a cluster. And this right here, this is an antique or vintage thread top that I backed to make a tuck. Here's the back of that page. We're almost to the end. This right here is a coaster that I've put on top of a piece of cardboard to make it thick and make it a tuck. These were fun. I made these out of an old, you would say, Dick and Jane book, but I didn't use Dick and Jane. Their names were Jack and Susan, and it had a baby. So we made a journaling card out of a flashcard, and it turned out really, really cute. And then I just tucked it back here on this lace page with the tuck, the little butterfly tuck. Here's the back right here, and the doily. This right here in the back, I don't have a pocket. You can add a pocket if you want one, but this is the last thing I have for the book. I made a bookmark. It could be a writing plate. It's not real thick, but it could be a writing board, because it might give you some flat to keep from hitting the bumps. But I thought a bookmark. It has a little tiny sewing machine. We have some vintage linen, and then this is just printed from a KB and Friends printable. The back has some needlepoint paper, and the base is from a DuPont, a vintage DuPont work safety manual, and each section was numbered. So this is the little bookmark / writing board, and this is what I have. And remember, all the proceeds from this book are going to Brielle and her foundation. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.